I am so excited for today because in today's video I am going to be showing you through my binder system alongside my cart, how I store it. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tiffany and this is Into Life Homeschool. I'm a homeschool mum to two beautiful children and we love homeschooling. Homeschooling has changed our lives. If you haven't yet, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. I've done a video on this before and a lot of people have shown a lot of interest and sent me lots of extra questions and things like that. So I wanted to dive a little bit deeper on how I created my binder system. I wanted to show you how it works in line with my trolley. And I also wanted to show you or just explain why I've done things the way that I've done them, because quite simply, this trolley here is literally our homeschool. Like this is as all of the paper for our homeschool. Yes, we have all of our books, but if it came down to the crunch, this is all we need to homeschool. And to a lot of people, that seems really shocking and surprising. And I suppose, you know, looking back in the last 4 years, I have found systems that work for me and be able to minimize the paper clutter, because paper clutter is stressful. It just makes things so much harder in a homeschool, especially when you're homeschooling multiple children. And it doesn't have to be that way. And that's why I do things the way that I do. And I think this is an amazing system. It has changed things so much for me. It has made things so much easier in the form of how allowing my children to know where things are so that they can go and find them themselves. When you have your kids' interests and they're ready and sitting there waiting to learn and do a lesson with you, you don't want to be fumbling over what you're about to do or trying to find that bit of paper that you had all your notes or, you know, links or things like that you needed to find, that you put aside or in your paper planner. I've done that a million times. But it is just the most frustrating thing to lose that interest and lose that moment where you can build on that interest with your kids. I've seen it, I've done it, I've been victim to losing a billion kinds of things, and that is why I was so motivated to put in the time and the energy to making a system that works for any kind of schooling. It is very simple and I'm going to show you through it today. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you through how it works in line with my digital planner and how I have literally saved thousands of papers being printed, being wasted, hundreds of dollars in not having to print teacher guides anymore. If they're available in a PDF form, I do not have them. I literally have 2 teacher guides. That's one for my son and one for my daughter in math. And that is it. I do not have any other teacher guides that I have had to print out and bind because all of it is in my digital planner. I'm going to be showing you through that and explaining how that works in line with my binder system, because literally this binder system was inspired by my digital planner. So before I take you through the binder, I just wanted to quickly and briefly explain to you what's happening here on my trolley. So I have my 2 binders. I have our whiteboard that we use for Right Start Maths. We use that quite often. I have these little document folders are fantastic. I'm not really sure, clip folders. I'm not sure what they're called. I'll try and find a link to them and add the link in the description box below to these, because they're really handy. So this is literally all the printing for our history curriculum, which is Curiosity Chronicles. And we've purchased the lap book that goes with the Curiosity Chronicles audio. and we're going to be creating lap books, but multiple lap books. So I've printed out all of the cuttings and the coloring in that we will do while we listen, and I'm going to actually sort that out. I'll do a video on this as well, because I feel like it can be a little bit of confusing curriculum to figure out what to do with all the things. In the magazine holders, I have our math. So Right Start Math, they've got a teacher guide and the workbook. So no getting around having teacher guides. I'm not like totally against it. It's just, if I can get it in PDF, that's the way I go. So then I've got our geography. So I've printed out geography, and literally that's all. They're all the exact same page. It's just we're working through it. Occasionally we'll hang these up on the wall if we're focusing really heavily on that, you know, that country, that area. So then I've got our workbooks. So I could have printed these out and put them into, like, hole punch them and put them into our binder system. And I may do that for next term. But this term, it's a new curriculum. I'm still trying to feel out how it would work best. I do kind of like this. So literally, this is Blossom and Rue. We're using level 4. And I've literally printed out 10 weeks worth of the student notebook. So this is not the entire student notebook for level 4. If I printed it all out, it would probably be like yay big. It would be huge. So I needed a way to make it light and easy for my kids and for me. So when I've finished this, I'm going to pop that into my filing system, which I've got, and in a magazine holder. So I've worked out that I'm going to pop these finished books into magazine holders, and it'll just be in 10-week blocks. So we work in 10-week blocks, so that is how I've worked out that's going to work for us. And that is kind of working for us so far. And because they have, Blossom and Root has additional work that is done in a note, like a separate notebook other than this, the binder system still works really, really well. So whatever work or projects that we've got going on that are independent of the student notebook, we work on in our binder. So then we've also got our science workbook, which is again 10 weeks. I printed out 10 weeks. That's how much you can see. And I'm just going to print for the next term. I'm just going to print out another 10 weeks, and we'll just work our way through it that way. It just means that we don't have a whole ton of stuff to deal with on our part and in terms of paper. So once that 10 weeks worth of work is done, it goes into another system. So it's not weighing me down here, if that makes sense. I created the binder system to actually help me, once I started using Freely, to give me a way that I could kind of section things out and have a visual of our actual physical belongings. So I'm going to take you through a tour of this binder system. I'm going to take you through the last video I did, I took you through my son's, Isaac's. This time I'm going to take you through my daughter's binder. And I have made a few changes to these binders. I've made them a little bit simpler and a little bit more pretty and just a bit more noticeable when you change through each category in the binder. Okay, so here is my homeschool binder system for my daughter Riley. She is 7 years old, and we have set this up, and she is able to independently put things away and store things and know exactly where things are in this binder system. So this is just a binder that has a plastic slip on the front, on the side, and on the back. So I just printed this out just to have some color differentiation between the two folders so they don't get mixed up. So in here I have got just any important cardboard things that don't fit in the actual pocket slips that I'm about to show you. We've got something that we use daily, which is Riley's little sight word books that she likes to use, that she's created for herself. And then I've just got, these are from Right Start Math. These are the appendix, like reproducible pages. I got got some printables from Etsy that I can print out, and I've just laminated this and glued it to a plastic separator divider. So these are easy to find in all your stationery shops, really. I like these ones because they're a little bit sturdier. And yeah, I just stuck this, laminated it and stuck it. So it's English and science. So I like to combine our subjects in which we tend to kind of bring our subjects together. So for us, English and science works really well together because often we do those together anyway, and there's always a little bit of an overlap between them, so it works quite well to have the subjects together. And that just literally means that any English or language arts subjects, any science like lab sheets or anything like that that we're working on go on in here. So I've got our pocket, I've got our divider, and then I've got a pocket at the beginning, at the very start. Then I've got our workbook that they work in, that they just write any notes and bits and pieces in. And behind that notebook, I've got another pocket. So I have got in progress, a little in progress label. It's just done on a mailing label, and I've just cut it out. And then I've got finished. So any finished work goes in this pocket. You can see there's quite a bit there that we've done. Any notes, anything that I want to stick into the book goes in the book. And then anything that hasn't been finished goes in the in progress pocket. So there's a couple of things that we haven't finished yet. It goes in here. So if we know, we get a visual of what hasn't been finished, what we have finished, which is kind of visually satisfying as well. And we just go to our folder and work through what is yet to be finished. So for math, I've got a divider, so we can visually see there's math. It's easy to find. I also keep the most used. So we do language arts and math the most. So they're at the beginning of the folder. So then we've got our reproducibles for Right Start. So these are things that I need to make photocopies of, or I just need to laminate to make, to be able to use them again. So we've got them all in there. And then I've got our math book. And then I've got our finished math work that goes in here. Same for art. Got our in progress work, so work that we have yet to finish. So that's some social studies work that we've got going on there that has yet to be finished. We've got our book, and then we've got our finished work as well. So we've done quite a bit so far for all of those. Then we've got HPE. We have actually got some journals that we've been working on in our morning time basket. So this is quite empty, but we actually have a few things that we're going to be working on coming up for HPE. So again, the pocket, book, and finished work is in the pocket behind it. So you can literally do this for any subjects that you want. And again, like I said, you know, next term I may decide to actually print out our student notebooks and hole punch them for Blossom and Root and store them in here. That could be something that works really well for us. Or I can actually, if we go away on holiday and I want to take our school stuff with us, it is super easy to just be able to put the student notebooks I've tested 10 weeks worth fit in these folders, these little pockets. So I could pop our student notebooks into these pockets as well if we wanted to with Blossom and Root. But for now, this is what's really, really working for us. It keeps everything really neat and tidy. I've been going through the process of reporting for my children, and the last year having used this has really enabled me to do my reporting quite easily, find the physical copies of things, look through that, look through my notes in Freely, and everything has just been so much smoother this year. So that is my binder system, and I absolutely adore this system, and I'm going to continue to perfect it as I go through. Obviously it changes over time with the kind of things that we're focusing on in our homeschool. But essentially the concept is having a place for everything, having that pocket for your work that you've yet to finish, having that pocket for the finished work. You could even have a second pocket for manipulatives if you wanted to, and put those in. There is just so much that you can do with this to make it yours and make it work for you and your children. There's obviously lots of physical stuff that you can't avoid in terms of writing in and using. I'm not against that. I've never been against that. I'm just against having to print out these big, extensive teacher guides where you don't really write anything in them. You don't really need it in print form. And yet, and once you've kind of gone through those lessons, you really don't need it again. So that is just so wasteful. And it's just, where do you put that stuff? That would be, if I had all my teacher guides, the ones that I've got in PDF printed, this would not be happening. That's why I go on and on and about getting those things in PDF form and being able to have a place for them in our homeschool planner, which is Freely. So that without Freely, this would not be possible to be able to do. And I suppose that you could try and do these kinds of things. You certainly could do the binder. That would work just fine for you. But you would need to do another kind of binder system, I suppose, for your teacher guides, and that could be quite extensive. If I were to print them out and I didn't use Freely, I would probably just be doing like 10 weeks at a time. We do 10-week blocks of homeschooling, and then we have a break. So I would just print the 10 weeks because, guys, those books are huge, hundreds and hundreds of pages usually. So to print all of that out, it costs a lot. You don't necessarily do, or if you're like me, you pick and choose each lesson. It becomes a real kind of negative experience flipping through lessons and paying for that printing. It's not cheap. And then kind of going, oh, well, I wasn't going to do that one. I'm not going to do that one. I'm not going to do that one. Before you know it, you've taken 20 lessons out of the book because they're not, you've already done something like that, or that's too advanced, or something that is not going to work for your homeschool. You have the right to do that, but it can be really kind of a negative experience if you've done that and you're kind of like, I really didn't need all that paper, because that's exactly how I felt in the past with having those. So that's why I'm such an advocate for going digital and using a planner like Freely. It has literally changed the way we homeschool, and for the better. So it's cut through the overwhelm, it's cut through all the clutter, and allowed me to really focus on what's important, like really focus on the lessons that I want to do with my kids, not just the ones that, I feel like I need to work through the book. I'm being more purposeful with the lessons that I'm choosing. And that is such a valuable experience. The thing that I love most about the binder system and why I think it works so well is that separation between the subjects. Now, I know that that's not life, and that subjects, grouping everything into categories is not always ideal, but when it comes from a perspective of organization, it really is the key to being able to find things. And that's where I came to that realization with using Freely Homeschool Planner. I found that being able to sort things into categories, into those subjects, really made me realize just how much I needed that to enable to find things. And I guess that's probably why organization has become something that I am so passionate about. It's because it really isn't actually that hard. We make it harder for ourselves because we overcomplicate the systems, and things can be simplified, and we don't have to have as much stuff. And if we have less stuff, then there's less stuff to organize. That's kind of the takeaway for this video, is that I am not someone that has ever been known to be a clean or organized person. And if I can do this and can continue to do this year after year and perfect it and personalize it, then you can too. That's my point in that story, is that I don't ever want anyone to be watching something that I'm doing or that I've created or trying to help with and think, oh, but she's a clean person, or she's an organized kind of person. That comes naturally to her. It doesn't come naturally. It is something that I have worked on for a very long time and done research and therapies and all sorts of things in order to get to where I am. But I've actually realized that it's just the fact that I was overcomplicating everything that made it so hard for myself. And I think that's, that's valuable information to be told, that A, anyone can do this, and B, just don't overcomplicate it for yourself. And if you have stuck around, thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching this video and joining me in my, tour through my binder system, my reflections on organization, and the fact that anyone can do these things. I really hope that you feel that you are able to kind of incorporate some of these things into your homeschool. I really have felt that this has really helped us, and it really helped us do more in our homeschool and enjoy things more and take away all the complicated mess and the feelings of, not being able to find anything. Because it's no one should feel that way. And that's what I'm most passionate about. I don't want anyone to feel that way. Anyone that's starting out, all the things that I had to go through, I don't want them to go through that. So that's why I share the information that I do. Every video that I share with you guys is from the heart, in a sense that I really do want to just help. And I hope that I am doing that for you. I hope that things can be made a little bit simpler or a bit clearer, or a little less a little less complicated for you today in your homeschool journey. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Hope that you've liked this video. Let me know what you think of the binder system. Do you feel like it would work in your homeschool? Let me know in the comments below. How do you handle all your physical things? And do you feel like you have too much and you need to minimize things, like I have as well? It really has changed things for us, and it's made things so much easier. You can still have all the things, but prioritize, what you're just working on right now. And it gives you a sense of seeing how much workload you're putting on yourself, and are you okay with that? It puts everything that we're working on is on this cart, and if it overfills this shelf, I know we've probably got too much stuff going on. That is my visual container. That is allowing me to put a limit on how much stuff we do and how much stuff we bring into our home. And if that means we have to shelve it for a little while, just so we can keep that sense of control over our days, and especially allowing that room for those moments of child-led learning and those, rabbit holes that we really do hold dear to our hearts, then that is okay with me. Thank you again for watching. It really means so much to me, and I will see you in the next video.